Currently, Taiwan has one of the highest voter turnout rates in the world. It stands at 74.9%, which places Taiwan at 10th place internationally, much higher than most of the well-known democratic powers and bastions around the world, such as the USA. We think that given this piece of evidence, it's not evident to us that there is any significant harm that the status quo poses. Right? We don't see, when they brought up their harms about the status quo, there isn't anything that in particular relates the voting distance of an individual from their designated polling location, that it actually has some form of impact on their voting patterns. So, although they say that there's a lot of absentee voters, that doesn't show that they aren't going to vote and that there is a problem with the status quo, and we should try to solve it through absentee balloting. I'll go into our plan today. I'll just directly refute their case. So first about their harm. They have not explained at all how their harms are related to plan. So that their harms itself should be that the harms say that there are a lot of absentee ballots and it might cost money to vote, to cast the vote. They still haven't related that. They still haven't related their plan to how it's going to solve that. They haven't showed how people are actually going to use this new system. Besides, plus they have put up a bunch of restrictions on these individuals, such that they have placed a lot of restrictions as they have brought up in their speech. Therefore, it's going to be very limited in its capacity to allow more people to vote. Therefore, we think that in that case, it's not going to impact a significant number of population, and therefore it should not be like there's no need for the system at all. Next, a specific aspect of their plan, when they talk about prison voting, we still don't understand how this is related to motion, as under the status quo, we can still implement some level of prisoner voting. It's not exclusive to either side. Finally, on their point about funding, they only brought up a specific number of amount of money that it costs to actually implement this plan. However, they haven't said anything at all about where they get this money from. They haven't said any, so therefore we cannot take their funding into account because they haven't provided a concrete way for us to actually implement that in the form of government. Finally, about voter turnout, since they do say that about their plan, since they do say that it is new, they haven't brought up any piece of evidence that states that this will work. The reason that we ask for a working model is because it shows that it has an actual effect, that it actually has worked in the past, and therefore would work in Taiwan as well. Since they didn't bring that up and claim that it's a new plan, they also need to bring up evidence or any research that shows that something similar, that similar aspect is going to make work in Taiwan. Let's talk about their case. Let's talk about the case as a whole. Right. So So in order for their harms to be substantial, they need to show that it's a direct result of distance from their designated voter district. Otherwise, it simply means that it's a result of other factors that doesn't fall under the scope of debate. On the other hand, small territory does not automatically imply minuscule influence on residential absence because turnout is a low cost and low benefit decision. And without a harm, So without a harm, there's nothing actually here to solve because they claim that many people live away from their residential voting area does not equate to their actually being harmed. In fact, we have evidence here that says that it's actually easier for people to possess the skill. Quote, it's easier for people to possess the skills and resources necessary to become politically engaged with little dependence on external cues. Therefore, we're so proud to negate this motion. I now stand up for cross-examination.
Second, affirmative topic amendment, second, 2 minutes.
You have mentioned that our restriction for voters is harsh. Do you know what's our restriction?
You've said so in your speech. You said
So you didn't hear our restriction clearly and you just stated that our restriction is harsh.
No, what I have said is that the restrictions are going to be limiting on the number of people that are going to be able to cast their ballot.
The absentee balloting method we talk about be able to use for all voters in Taiwan. I just need to apply, all right? Okay, then next, do you know why, sorry. You have mentioned that Taiwan has the highest voting rate, right?
Yes, I have mentioned that they are placed 10th in the world in terms of voter turnout.
Right. Do you know that in the status quo, the prisoners, how's the status quo protects prisoners from voting?
That part isn't inclusive in the debate because it doesn't fall under the category of absentee ballot.
Alright. We have mentioned a plan for prisoners, a special polling station. It will guarantee prisoners voting right because in the current status quo they can't vote.
Establishing a new polling location just for prisoners itself is not considered absentee balloting. It's simply an extension of more
because
polling
they won't
stations.
change their registered domicile to the prison. So that is considered absentee balloting.